So finally, the soldier who shot and killed 20-year-old Reene Bala in 2020 in Jos has officially been sentenced to death by hanging or lethal injection. Now, I can't even believe that this happened in 2020 because I remember this story like it was just yesterday. Time really do fly. So for those who don't remember the story, around the 12th of May 2020, a young boy by the name of Reene Bala, along with some of his friends, were taking a stroll in their neighborhood in Zaria Stadium Road, Jos, Plateau State. Bala was a 300 level student in the University of Jos, and around this period of time, the COVID-19 lockdown was in place. So it is believed and reported as though that they violated the COVID guideline by hanging out together at a time that they shouldn't be. It's unclear what time it was, but we knew it was night when Bala, along with his childhood friend Emmanuel and 3 other guys, were just walking and strolling. There was a vigilante group attached to the community, making patrol movement and trying to make peace, when they spotted the boys strolling and they shouted at them to come, but their instinct was to run. So they started running because they thought they were in trouble. Mind you, these kids were like 20 years old, 19 years old. These are teenagers for the most part. In the process of running, the vigilante guys chased after them, and then they caught one of the boys and started beating him, accusing him of being a thief. To be fair, around this period of time in that same neighborhood, armed robbery has been reported the day before or days before around that period of time. So when the vigilante men tried to call the boys started running, and it became suspicious. And when they caught one of the boys, they started beating on the boy. The soldiers that were also in patrol came and saw the vigilante guys beating the boy, and they added to it. This is where they will see them. They see them. They didn't even ask questions. They didn't even do any investigation. They just joined in the beating. And eventually they caught another guy from one of the friends. And at the end of the day, somehow, some way, 5 of them were caught and taken to the barracks there in Sector 1 headquarters. Some sources report that the friends of the boys that were caught decided to show like they hand themselves over because they didn't do anything. So them running looked suspicious. And I think that was why when they realized it was now serious, they all decided to hand themselves over because, again, they didn't do anything. It's not as if they caught all of them while they were running. They were not. Only 2 of them were caught. The rest of them decided to show up to explain that they actually just were taking a stroll. But the soldiers did not care. They handcuffed them and started beating them and started making them confess to a crime that they did not do. They were forced to admit to stealing phones, admit to smoking weed, and admit to armed robbery. But they insisted on that they did not do any of those. While they were in the barracks, somewhere in a prison yard, they were beaten and tortured. Under their legs, they were tortured under their foot, being forced to admit to it. At some point, it was assumed that the mob gathered, like people who knew about the story came to the base to ask the soldiers what the boys did. And since the soldiers could not provide any evidence that these boys were thieves or criminals, the mob requested that they should let them go because at this point it's oppression. Eventually, the boys were let go. However, when they were leaving the barracks, the soldier told them to run. It was some sort of Squid Game. One of those things where they're like, okay, all of you now, on my count of 5, run. Anybody I catch, I'll arrest the person again. And I think it looked like fun play, serious joke, and the boy starts to run towards the gate. Mind you, they've tortured their foot. They are injured on their legs, so they were running with a painful injury on their foot. And they tried their best. But as they were all running, they heard a gunshot. They continued running because they didn't even realize that one of them has been shot. And it turned out to be Reene Bala. The boys ran out, called their parents, and by the time the parents came, they were looking for Bala. Coming back to the barracks, and they realized that Bala was the one that was shot by one of the officers who was there. This clearly sparked outrage because it didn't have to come to this. There was no need for that. And on the 13th, the next day, the team, that is the Operation Safe Haven, the soldiers, responsible for the situation, made a statement claiming that the officer that shot and killed Bala mistook him for a criminal that was running away. The officer was identified as Mr. Ria Otta. They said that he wasn't aware that it was the soldiers who had told them to run. So him, somewhere around the corner, seeing a group of young boys running, assumed and thought that it was a fleeing suspect, and that was why he decided to open fire. They called it a mistake and an accident. However, the case was taken to court, and according to the judge, that was not an accident. Maybe a mistake, however, not an accident. And just because it's a mistake doesn't mean it doesn't come with its consequences, especially when the mistake involves taking the life of another person. Since 2020 up until now, the case has been in court. To be honest with you, I always thought this was like 2 years ago. I had no idea it's been 5 years already. I had no idea. Time does fly. I remember this guy's picture. I remember we didn't even do the story back then because we were waiting for all the details. And looking back now, I'm like, wow, it's been 5 years. A lot of evidence was looked into. Part of it actually included the fact that even if you thought it was a fleeing suspect, opening fire was careless and stupid. You can call it a mistake because you thought it was an actual fleeing suspect, but it's not an accident because you cocked your gun and opened fire blindly. The court determined that it was not an accidental discharge and that the man meant to shoot and he meant to kill. His charges was culpable homicide, and it's almost the same as murder, but basically not first degree murder, because for that you would have to prove that he knew the boy and had intention to kill the boy and had planned it ahead. But this one was something that, whether or not it was a mistake, whether or not it was an accident, whether or not you were mad, whether or not you were high, you caused his death and you would have to pay for it one way or another. Especially when you and the guy did not even have any contact, he did not provoke you, he does not even know who you are. So you and the boy did not have any direct connection for it to be anything other than a culpable homicide. On the 9th of December 2025, Officer Roya was found guilty of killing the 20-year-old Reene Bala, and he was sentenced to death by hanging or lethal injection. We also heard that the court awarded damages to the family of the young man. We don't know how much that is, but I really hope it's worth it. Nothing can bring the young man back, but I hope it's in the millions. And I'm not talking 10 millions. I'm not even talking 20 million. But we know how cheap our government can be. So I'm imagining it's going to be around that 10, 20 million. But by right, it should be at least 100 million. Just my thoughts. I mean, it should be, because who knows? That could have been the breadwinner of his family and they took it away. But the fact that they awarded the family for damages is something, and I think the reason why they don't want to publish the figure or the number is most likely because they don't want people to take advantage of such a thing and set the soldiers up to commit crimes like this. If not, the government will be losing money. But I like the fact that the family pushed and fought for their loved ones. These are the things we love to see. These are the things we like to see. This is what justice looks like. When you want to fight for justice for a loved one, you have to keep fighting. For 5 years, I know many families who would have left it for God, who would have given up, who would have cursed the officer and prayed that even within this period, I'm sure that the family of Reene many times were most likely tried to be spoken to outside of court, because that's what they do. When it involves such institution like the army, you'll see the family being told to drop the case and they will give them something. Drop the case and they will offer them something. Don't take this to court. That would have been done behind closed doors. Many families do this and then they drop the case and they are settled outside of court. But I like that the family took this to court to the end, because his best friend and his friend had to watch him die. Even up till now, 5 years later, Emmanuel, the best friend of Bala, is still traumatized. That thing will live with him forever. To live with him for a very long time, having to lose your friend over nothing. having to be like, I don't see him ever liking any soldier. He's going to look at a soldier or an army man, and he's going to hate them for a very long time, because you don't come out of such experience. But at least justice was served.
It is just unfortunate and sad that this 19-year-old girl by the name of Lovett Oloma Nwagu was a victim of her evil cousin, 51-year-old Emmanuel Nwagu. Looking at this man's background, it doesn't even make sense that anybody should have sent their child to live with a man like this. This man's background is so bad. He was not just a rapist, he was a notorious kidnapper and a criminal. His whole terrible activities started from 2010. When he was first arrested, he said his whole terrible activities started from 2010 when he unalived his fiancée and fled his hometown in Opi Nsukka local government area of Enugu State. That he proposed to his fiancée back then, I think he was 26 years of age. He proposed to this lady and she rejected his proposal. This got him angry and he stabbed her to death. After stabbing her to death, he flew to Lagos, settled down and started applying for jobs. Luckily, he got a job at a security company to work as a security guard in Apapa. Barely 1 month into this man working, he stole the sum of 750,000 naira from that company. After stealing the money from this company, he flew to Ghana, used the money to buy a taxi and started using it for a taxi job, more like a cab job there in Ghana. After he worked for some time, he stayed there for like 5 years. In 2005, thinking that everything must have died down, he returned back to Lagos. Being a good driver, he started applying to companies to act as a driver to, private individuals and all that. According to him, these companies don't even end up verifying their, their face or their identities. So he successfully got a job from that company and started working again. He got his first job at the Jumbos in Ikoyi using that method. He was assigned to drive the CEO of the company. He started driving this man. Barely 1 month of driving this man, the boss said they should go somewhere that he wanted to see his friend. Getting there, the boss highlighted from the car. Immediately this man dropped. This Mr. Emmanuel Nwagu made away with the sum of 350,000 naira the boss left in his car. Immediately he stole the money. He ran back to Ghana to go and settle down and relax. After staying a few months in Ghana, he returned back to Lagos and completely avoided Ikoyi axis. Now he started looking for another driving job around Victoria Island. He got a job there. Few months after working for this company, he stole 600,000 again and ran back to Ghana. After spending some years in Ghana, 2008, he returned back to Lagos. This time around, he changed his entire plan. He upgraded to kidnapping. He started working for one Mrs. Folake Kokas. Now, this person is said to be a former aide to former Lagos State governor. While working for this family as their driver, his whole intention and plan was to steal money as usual. But working there, he discovered that it may take him so much time to steal money. Seeing that this family were very rich and they loved their daughter a lot, they had a little girl, they loved their daughter a lot. 1 month into working for this family, this young man kidnapped their little child. He kidnapped their little daughter. How did he do it? Him and the house help, the lady working as house help in the family, they usually go out to, pick the child from school, also go to the market at times. He will drive her to the market. So on one of the occasions when he went out to pick the daughter from school, he excused the girl. He sent the house help to quickly buy something from a supermarket. Immediately, this lady highlighted from the car to buy something from this supermarket. This Mr. Emmanuel made away with this girl. This time around, he was already in a fresh relationship. He had a new fiancée by the name of Patricia Abena. With the help of his fiancée Patricia, he moved the little girl to Maitu, and from Maitu, they relocated back to Ghana. When he got to Ghana, he settled down there. He began calling this girl's family, the Folake's family. He started calling them and demanding for ransom. After sending this money to them, he started buying things. He bought cars, bought house, started spending extravagantly, going to, clubs, partying, even sponsoring orphanage homes. He became a donor. He donated money to them. His extravagant lifestyle attracted armed robbers to his house. Police got involved. They discovered he was in possession of illegal firearms, and that was when he started having problems. He returned back to Lagos and started applying for another job. He got another job in another family as a driver. He successfully kidnapped their child and ran back to Ghana, demanded for a ransom of 21 million naira. The family were able to pay a ransom of 12 million naira. After sending this money to them, the Folakes contacted the Ghanaian police and the Nigerian police. So they started tracking Mr. Emmanuel and his fiancée or his wife. They tracked them to the point where Miss Patricia, the fiancée, was going to withdraw the money. When they got there, the Ghanaian police took a different turn. The whole story took a different turn. Instead of apprehending this woman and recovering the ransom and the child, the Ghanaian police decided to take the 12 million naira from the woman. They took the 12 million naira from Patricia and released her. After they released her, and she got home. Out of anger, he called back the Edozes and complaining, oh, you have the mind to contact the police, you reported and they are looking for me, they even took the money from my wife. Now for you to see your child, you pay additional 12 million naira. That was how the Edozes pleaded and ended up sending additional 9 million naira. After sending the money and the Ghanaian police learned about this whole thing, out of shame for what the Ghanaian police did, the Ghana police was said to have, arrested 8 persons in connection to the whole act. The 8 persons who shared the ransom, they were arrested and dismissed from the police force. In order for the Ghanaian police to redeem their self and get back their dignity, they started tracking this Emmanuel and his wife Patricia. They put up their pictures everywhere as the most wanted criminals in Ghana that period. On seeing that their pictures were everywhere, even before the Ghana police could even lay hands on them, this couple smuggled themselves into Ivory Coast. After spending a few days there, they went to Sierra Leone, where they spent 1.5 years. From Sierra Leone, they went to Benin Republic, where they settled down. After they settled down for some time and saw that everything has died down, they returned back to Lagos. The wife secured a nanny job at Jodegbaide's family, where they kidnapped their child, relocated back to Benin Republic, and demanded for a ransom of 20 million. The family obviously did not have the money they were hoping they would get, so they bargained and pleaded for 2.5 million. That was what this family paid them. They took the money, they squandered it there, they released the child. After collecting the 2.5 million from this their recent victim and returning their child, they decided to relocate back to Lagos, thinking that everything has died down. The wife started looking for a job as usual, but this time around, the job was a little bit difficult for them. And one of the families they scammed, the Folake Kokas family, vowed that they must make sure they apprehend the people who kidnapped their daughter. So that was how they started, mobilizing people, both SARS, DSS, police. Everybody was looking for this couple in Lagos. Everywhere was hot for them. They relocated to Abuja, using Benin Republic as their main base, with the intention that, if they get another family, they kidnap another child, they will go back to Benin and demand for ransom. This time around, the wife was not so lucky, but the husband got a job to drive a retired brigadier general in Abuja. On arriving at the retired brigadier general's house, Mr. Emmanuel discovered this man wasn't really as wealthy as he expected, and his last born is around the age of 17, so it may not be that easy for him to kidnap the child. On seeing that he may likely not get anything from this family, he started applying to be relocated. The agency that got him that job, he started writing to them that they should change his location, he wants another family. They persuaded him to stay at least 1 more month. That 1 month he was still staying there was when the SARS caught up with him. They eventually arrested him. He pleaded that he will not do it again. He committed to all his crimes, that they should give him a chance. They should charge him to court so he can apologize to all the families he has wronged, serve his term, and get back to living his life, that he regrets all his actions. That is even a good thing he was arrested, that he has been running too many times. The running was too much for him, so it's better he serves his jail term there. Finally, he served his jail term for years and was eventually released. He relocated back to his community and started living his life peacefully there. Relocating back to his community, everybody felt like, this man is a changed man. He has been in rehabilitation center. Now he has become a sane man. He started working as a security guard in the community. He started seeing money, making new and fresh connections. This girl's family, Oloma's family, were not well-to-do. Lovet's family were poor, so they had to send Lovet over to live with this man, serving this man and his wife as maids. At least she's going to school. That was how this girl went there at the age of 13. Mr. Emmanuel started sexually assaulting this girl. I don't know if the wife was not aware or if he made away with that particular wife, but it was said he married so many women, of which none of them was living with him at the time. So he was sexually assaulting this girl from the age of 13. Whenever she complained and, threatened to report to the family, he would lock her up, beat her, and threaten to unalive her. He would threaten her with a gun. That was how he continued assaulting this girl, maltreating her, prevented her from talking to her friends and families, till she turned 19. Finally, on the 28th of November 2025, this girl managed to escape. After he assaulted her, locked her up in a room, she managed to escape and made her way to the police station at Nsukka, reported this uncle there and everything he has been doing to her. The police station invited the family, both her parents, her family members, and this Mr. Emmanuel. On getting to the police station, Mr. Emmanuel started acting remorseful. After narrating everything, he started acting remorseful. He's so sorry, it was the devil, he was not going to do it again. The family pleaded with the police that they should allow them settle at home, that this is an abomination, that Mr. Emmanuel was sleeping with his cousin, that is an abominable act. So the police should allow them go home. They will do a traditional cleansing to cleanse this girl from everything he has done to her. The family were more concerned about the abomination as to what this man even did to this girl. They pleaded with the police that they don't want to carry out any actions against Mr. Emmanuel since they are all family. That was how the police discharged them. They went back home, everybody went back with their activities. But at that point, this girl could no longer live with this man, so she had to run away. Family members started looking for her. They searched for her for some days, and eventually when they found her, she told them that the reason why she left his house was that he was still threatening her. He was maltreating her and she could no longer stay there. So the family said no problem. This man already promised them at the police station that he was going to return her luggages to the family and he was not going to do anything to her again, before she started complaining of how he kept on threatening her. Even days before she died, there was a video that came online of him threatening her that she has the mind to go and report him, that even if he does anything to her, the police will not harm him, that the police will in fact not do anything to him, that was not even a threat, that it was a promise he was making to the family, that the police would do nothing to him. Finally, on the 1st of December 2025, Lovett was said to have been in a relationship with a DPO, a police officer, and she fell sick. Now, it's not clear if she fell sick from what Mr. Emmanuel has been doing to her, even if some sources said it has something to do with the fact that he has been sexually assaulting her. Her DPO boyfriend took her to Beke Pharmacy at Total Roundabout in Nsukka, where she was receiving drip. The DPO was sitting in his car receiving AC, while Lovett was inside the pharmacy receiving drip. Emmanuel tracked him there, or Emmanuel traced her to that pharmacy, went there and started assaulting this girl, started beating her up, pushed her to the floor, started banging her head on the floor, like she had the mind to run away from his house, report him at the police station. That was how he banged this girl's head on the floor till this girl passed out. They rushed her to the hospital and unfortunately she died. While all these things was going on, this young man, Mr. Emmanuel, still angry, probably he didn't even know they had rushed this girl to the hospital, he went to the car and started fighting with the DPO. Sources said the DPO brought out his gun and wanted to even shoot him. Before some persons, came and apprehended him, they took him to the police station. On getting to the police station, he brought out his phone and called the local government chairman of Nsukka, telling the man that, "Oh, see Oga, I have unalived someone. I ended up killing this girl. Please come to my aid." This is to show this guy was a little bit influential, and whenever he committed crime, he always had somebody to revert to. Now, it's not like the local government chairman did anything to help him, but finally the commissioner of police, by the name of Maman Beatrice Giwa, condemned this act of killing and ordered that he should be transferred to the state CID for criminal investigation and prosecution. So currently, he's under the police custody and will be charged to court. It is just sad. I just feel very sad that the family, even with everything this man has done, knowing his record, his entire record, handed over their 13-year-old daughter to this man. I blame the family. Even when the girl complained that this man has been sexually assaulting her, you put her to plead with the police. You put her to plead with the police that the police, allow you to settle in a family way. You people were more concerned with the traditional aspects, the fact that it's an abomination. As to the girl's life, finally he ended this girl. They're even supposed to prosecute you people as well, because you guys contributed to the death of this girl. If you people had allowed the police to punish this man when this girl complained, probably she would have still been alive. But you people allowing the police to release him, saying you want to settle as a family matter, contributed to this girl's death. Anyway, may her soul rest in peace, and please don't allow poverty to make you send your child to where she will meet untimely death. Society has changed drastically. This is no longer the time where you will send your child to a family member and your child will come back sane. Currently, if your child is a girl, it's even more difficult for her to come back sane, because there are so many pedophiles everywhere. As long as it's something under the skirt, they don't mind the age. Whether 2, 3, they don't mind. They will sexually assault them. It is just sad. Anyway, what is your take on this story? Drop it under this comment section and share this video. Have a great day.